Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsey. Today I'm excited to be sharing with you my second alternative card using the November 2022 paper pumpkin kit called From the North Pole. This fun kit created 12 Christmas tags, 4 in these 3 different designs. If you would like to watch me unbox this kit, create these tags, or see any of my other alternative cards, click on the playlist in the top right corner. Each month, I take the contents from the paper pumpkin kits and make alternative projects. Today I'm sharing with you this fun fold card using the tops of the tags to create a gate type closure. Don't forget to subscribe to next month's kit. The December kit creates 16 gift card holders for different occasions you can use all year long. If gift card holders are not your thing, don't worry. I will be sharing how to create the contents to make fun cards using the Good Things Cards and Envelopes add-on, which you can order now through my online store, and the link is below in the description or on my blog. Let's begin creating this card with the card base first, and then we'll move on to stamping and then assembling. So I have a card base of cherry cobbler. It's been cut to 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4.25 inches. And then I do have another piece of cherry cobbler that is 2.25 inches by 5.25 inches. So to make this card, you're going to take your card base and off one side, you're going to cut 1 3/4 inches. And it doesn't really matter which side. And then when you fold along that score line, you're going to create this card base that has this opening here. Okay, so we've got a shorter piece here. This is about 2.5 inches. And then we have a full piece for the background. Next, we're going to take that piece we just cut. So this is the 1 3/4 inches piece. And we're going to trim off 1/4 inch. So it's 5.25 inches tall. And these two pieces are going to be the pieces we stamp on and then add to our card in those sections. So this is the 2.25 and this is the 1 3/4. Okay. So next let's do our stamping. So on those 2 pieces of cherry cobbler, I wanted to stamp a very simple design. And so I'm using the circle. This is the circle stamp that came from the stamp set. So there's this little tiny circle stamp all by itself. And it's a really great background stamp when you repeat it over and over. So just start stamping in a random pattern. And I am using cherry cobbler ink, which is the same color of Stampin' Spot that you received in your kit. So you'll get something that looks like this. So as I was creating my card, I wanted to have a floral element that pulled in that feeling of Christmas. And so I pulled in another stamp set, which is very rare for me to do for my alternatives, but I wanted a more floral element to my card. So I grabbed my new framed florets stamp set. This is a stamp set that's going to be in the new January through May, I think it is, mini catalog. And so you can purchase it now. It's available to customers to purchase as well as later. I loved this really beautiful image here. I've used it on some other cards that I've shared on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen those, just do a quick search for framed florets and that should pop up. And then I have some other cards I've made with it as well that I want to share with you later. Anyway, it's a really beautiful stamp set and I love this image of the flowers and they were the perfect size, I felt like, for my tags. And so what I did is I stamped it on some basic white cardstock and cut it out with the coordinating dies. It does have a coordinating die, so make sure to purchase it as a bundle. I do also want to stamp it again. On the inside of my card, I've got a white piece, and I'm adding a little bit of images on the inside just to kind of pull in those images from the front. So I've got that same image here, and I'm using Early Espresso ink. I know that the basic black is the coordinating color, but I wanted to be a little softer of a color. So I'm using Early Espresso instead of black. And I've just stamped that in the bottom right corner. This piece is 2.5 inches by 5.25 inches, and it's for the inside for my greeting. So another thing that I did with this image is I cut it into 2 sections. So I've just taken a pair of paper snips, and I'm cutting it into a larger and a smaller sections. And let me see if I can remember how I did it. I think it was this way. So if you look for the leaves that have the berries, they're on the 2 sides of this flower, and that's this flower that I'm creating that's larger. So right along the bottom of that leaf with the berries on the left, I'm going to go ahead and cut that out and follow that all the way around this second flower, and then down this leaf that has no berries and around. Okay, so you're going to get something that looks like that, and it's going to get tucked under our greeting, so it's okay if it looks a little strange. And then on this one, you just want to smooth out any edges that maybe feel a little bit awkward. So something like that, okay? So those 2, and I didn't want to color them in. I wanted that nice strong contrast for the flowers. But if you want to color them in, you could use Stampin' Blend markers, you could use the watercolor pencils, you could even use sponge daubers. Lots of options with that if you wanted to add color to those. All right, so now let's work on the tags, and it does take 2 tags, and you could probably use any of the tags that come in the kit. You would just need to change up your colors of your card if you wanted to, but I love the crumb cake. I think it gives this really nice gate looking feeling to the card. So what we're going to do is we are going to measure from the top of our tags, and then we're going to trim off the bottom pieces. So this first one, we're going to measure at 3 inches and trim. And then don't throw away any of your papers, because I do have a card I want to share with you that uses the excess pieces. So that's 3 inches, and you measure right from the top. So place the edge of your tag at the top and line up that top with your 3-inch mark. And then this one, we measure at 1.5 inches. So that top, again, everything is pushed up against the top of your paper trimmer so you know everything's nice and level. And then measure the top of your tag at 1.5 inches. It feels really tiny, but it's correct. And then score that or cut that, and then slide it down to 1.25 inches. And this time we're actually going to score it. So if you need to hold that in place, maybe with a little washi tape so it doesn't move, you can do that. Just make sure it sits right on that 1.25 inch mark. And then use your scoring blade and not your cutting blade for this. Okay, so you're going to have this, it looks like this, and then you're going to be able to bend on that score line. Okay, and that's really important part to this card. All right, so now we're going to pull in our cherry cobbler pieces. We've got our 2.25 inch and 1 3/4 inch, and you're going to lay them out so that the larger one's on the left and the smaller one is on the right. And then we need to glue this smaller tag to the smaller strip. So we're going to add just glue right here to the back and tuck that in. So this needs to be able to be loose, and it's only glued here along that back edge. So I'm going to add a little liquid glue. I flipped my tag over and add liquid glue just to that inside of that small section right there. Can you see that? And then I want this to sit at 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of the strip, which is another reason why I use glue, because then I can kind of move things around a little bit. So using either a ruler or your grid paper, slide that so that it's at 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Okay, and that goes on the right side of the smaller strip, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. Okay, so it's only adhered to that on that back side. This is loose here. Then you take your larger one, and that goes on the larger piece, and this can get adhered all the way down. Just don't put any adhesive at the top. And this also is added 3/4 of an inch from the bottom. And it goes right up to the edge of this piece here. So make sure to use your grid paper and smooth that glue out. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. So when these come together, it will be like that. It's going to be so pretty. Before we add these to the card, we do need to do just a couple more things. And one of them is to add our glitter snowflake. So we've got this beautiful glitter snowflake, and we're going to add it to the edge on the larger section and then trim it and add that excess over here on the smaller section. So use the glue dots that came in the kit and just kind of focus on the bottom area here, because the top area will be tucking some other things in and around. So maybe one more. So 3 sections, 3 of those points on the snowflake, and then the center. And then just remember which ones have the adhesive, and then you can add that section to the front of the card. So this one here is my first one with adhesive. And I'm going to bring it down so that it's touching the bottom. So it's going to look something like that. So the center point is on my card, and these are the 3 points that have adhesive, and then this one up here does not. I want this to be loose right here. And then we're going to flip it over and take a pair of paper snips and trim off the excess right along that edge. And then add glue dots to the back of this piece, and we're going to add it to the smaller section for our card, just so that we don't waste any of this beautiful snowflake. And I just tucked it so that a little bit is coming underneath the tag. So it's just kind of peeking out. Not really peeking out, but just a little bit is underneath there. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and add these pieces to our card base. Let's begin with the inside piece here. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus adhesive. And that just goes there. It will be a slight border, so just pay attention. You want it to be about the same amount on top, bottom, and that left side. And then you're going to take that small strip and line it up with that white piece, and make sure the border now continues all the way around this piece. And there should be some overlapping with the white piece and this cherry cobbler piece. Okay, so that's what it's going to look like when they open their card. Make sure everything is on nice and strong. And then we'll add our larger piece here. And that gets added with a border as well. So there's going to be a little border between each one of these sections. And then these two holes should match up. And there will be a slight overlap. All right, so then you're going to take your flowers, and I've added dimensionals to the back, and just kind of add these to the center of the label. So this is the large one that's going to be first. Somewhere there in the center. And then this is the smaller one, and I'm going to tuck it underneath the snowflake and kind of hide it. So remember we had that awkward looking shape right there, and I've just hidden it underneath the first snowflake or flower. And then you take your greeting, and I actually am going to remove this dimensional and place a dimensional right here in this weird opening. And I want my greeting to match up with my edge and come across and cover up that hole there. Okay, so it's going to look something like that. And again, if you want to color those in, you definitely can. So make sure to write your message before you tie this together. And you're just going to use 10 inches of the twine that came in the kit. Bring those ends together and then fold that. You can choose which one to have on top. It doesn't really matter. Make a knot. Put your ends together again. Slide your finger on top of that knot and press down. And that's going to ensure that your ends are the same distance, so you don't have one that's much longer than the other. So then you're going to tie a bow. You don't want to tie a knot like we normally would when using baker's twine, because you want it to be easy for your the friend or whoever you're sending this to, for them to open. So if there's a knot there, that makes it a little difficult. But that's how it will look. It's so cute. And then if you have any embellishments that you want to add, I have these beautiful iridescent rhinestones, and I'm just going to pop a couple on just to kind of add another level of bling to this card. I love these. Obviously, I've used almost all of them up. I'm going to have to get another pack. So I've added 3 to the tag in the front, and then probably place 2 small ones at the top near the snowflake. Such a beautiful card. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun fold card for my second alternative using the November 2022 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're interested in subscribing to get your own Paper Pumpkin Kit, please use the link in the description box below to subscribe. And if you'd like to see written instructions or close-up images on how to create this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.